The other thing also is
Conversation. These should be complex conversations with
before
very
the white man
complex
comes
people.
to dig oil, for example, out of
Yeah.
Lake Albert, yeah, no one owns Lake Albert, right? And what we say, Africans and our societies, what we had like the Kabaka, actually before the Kabaka became a king, because, tried to replicate the English monarch. The Kabaka was just, and that's what the Baganda was, just a bigger brother, Buganda as a brotherhood filled with multiple tribes, with multiple clans, because Basoga by then were Baganda, Bakonjo, whatever. There were many tribes within Baganda, but Buganda was sort of like this brotherhood society, right? And what you have is you and your clan. I've heard rumors that the idea was to preserve an animal. So you pick an animal and say, we don't eat this animal, and call it our emblem and things like that. But that history is also not very clear.
Yeah, because I've got an animal for my clan.
But say it was for such a very good thing, to preserve an animal. The Baganda have their societies, and what our societies were super decentralized. The king, when the king came, I don't take orders from the king. No one took orders from the king. But when the king came to visit, the king came with gifts, right? So because these guys were rich, they would come and you want to give them, because the king apparently was the husband to every woman. So you want the king to take away one of your daughters.
Right.
Yeah. So the guy comes with gifts, and he comes also with this thing that with me comes, some sort of a demagoguery, with me comes better life. If you give me your daughter, it's better for her, and blah, 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 blah. And, when the white people come and also bring this kind, because democracy is also, quite intellectualism, right? It wasn't a Ugandan thing, because again, our societies were not, they didn't have that kind of hierarchy that required, authoritarianism or democracy or whatever. But all that stuff, when you look at it from like grain by grain, we have to appreciate that the lead thinkers, we can't discredit Einstein's work because Einstein's white, right? We can't discredit Isaac Newton's work because Isaac Newton is English.
I'm not saying discredit, but the people that came here didn't bring that stuff, right?
Oh, I'm sure.
So you could have got that. We could have got that stuff through trade. We could have got that stuff through interacting as societies, not conquering societies, not fracturing communities, not taking slaves. The Belgians came and they brought in the trains and they brought in the whatevers, and they also took the children, and they also, it used to be lucky to have an African's head as a freaking necklace, and they used to farm us, and they, do you know what I mean? And so there is this level of the colonial mindset, which is white is right, that is really dangerous, because it means that we are always going to be looking towards a society. And some of the reasons why our societies don't work is because the nature of the people that we aren't built like them. You know what I mean? Like our customs and our traditions are not built in line with white society, And so, yes, I think that eventually we would have gotten the technology. White society isn't the only place that hasn't gone technology. China does that, whatever.
That's sort of like the alternative world that I don't know.
Africa was the only, Africa is the continent that got pillaged.
No,
Yeah?
India did. India has
Right.
1 billion people. China did. China was colonized by English first and then Japanese.
Not for as long as, and not as
I'm saying,
as
yeah.
hectically as Africa. I get it. There was,
Australia, where are you coming from? Australia,
Exactly.
for example. Australia was...
I know, and
Yeah,
we
you
have
know,
massive problems there because the indigenous people are still fighting,
no,
fighting to be recognized. But I'm saying that the whole idea of coming into a place and the worst thing that colonization brought is this mindset that we're not good enough.
Okay, so quick question, right? We go to Mars, yeah? Mars is Sonia. We go to another galaxy and there's a place that can accommodate life like Earthians and people like human beings. But except these people, they eat their first son.
Yeah.
Yeah, when the mom gives birth, they eat the first son. Yeah, and they have a language very similar to human language, so we can translate and learn it, and they can learn ours. But that's the weird thing with them. They hit the human son, and they kill the second son. So a woman's supposed to have 3 children to raise the third. Yeah, and we have superior technology to them. We can just bomb them away, and we tell them, you know what, we don't like that. You either change it or we bomb you. Do we leave them to eat their people and just go? Because Earth is full, so we can't. We have to live there. What do we do?
So this is an idea of perception, right? And the only way that I can explain it is in real world terms, right? Circumcision, right, is actually male genital mutilation, right? It is not seen as barbaric. It is not seen as, it's actually a really socialized thing, right?
Religions
In most religions, right? Exactly, right? But then, did you know that, you know how, well, I think it's a Maganda thing, the women pull the labia cord. That was put on as
I saw that,
mutilation. Now, why is something which, by the way, the women do it themselves. They don't hurt themselves. They're not forced. There's social pressure, but there's also social pressure to get circumcised, right? There's actually probably less social pressure and more just it has to be done in some religions, right? You are totally changing the sexual look. You're totally changing sex for that person for the rest of their lives. Everything is less sensitive, blah, blah, blah. Why is it that one is more socially accepted than the other?
Okay.
So I think
and
if they